You say in your book that 6 factors have shaped the modern Middle East. Can you list them shortly?
Sure. Well, the first one obviously is Islam. And I think you cannot take account of the politics or the shape of the Middle East without thinking about Islam. The second one, somewhat more recent, is the Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman Empire is often misunderstood, actually, because at peak it held more territory in Europe than it did in the Middle East and North Africa. But it's a much more influential force in shaping the Middle East as it is today than in many ways it has ended up being in southeastern Europe. The third force is European colonialism. Hang on, 1, 2, 3. I've got 3 more to go.
US.
The intervention or the role of the US, which started considerably earlier than people think. I mean, in a really sort of powerful way, you would probably date it to the Suez Crisis, 1956, when really the US started to kind of, more than nudge, really solidly elbow Britain and France to one side and say it is our policy which will work from now. But actually, engagement in the affairs of Middle East and North Africa was the first foreign policy action of the independent United States of America, with the so-called Barbary Wars, or the Corsairs, the wars against pirates in North Africa.
Another factor is Israel here.
The foundation of Israel is absolutely essential, even though you could say, it's essential to understanding the Middle East. Even though you could say that the actual influence of Israel on events in the Middle East is very often overrated, the fact that Arab states could not prevent the foundation of Israel, which they set out to do, the fact that they could not then defeat Israel in wars, which they set out to do, the fact that they could not support the PLO effectively enough for the PLO to really beat Israel, all of this is part of a critique of the leadership of the Arab world, which then gets all sort of tied into a narrative that includes its dependence on the West, its corruption, its turning away from the true ways of Islam, and so on. So the story of Israel is absolutely central there. And the 6th factor is oil.
Exactly.
Because oil has done so much to, on the one hand, generate the development or motor the development which has happened in the Middle East, and on the other hand, has been a way in which many Middle Eastern regimes have been able to avoid needing to be truly accountable to their people. They've been able to be rich, and the elites have been able to thrive without needing to tax their people. And when governments need to tax people, there's usually some kind of a relationship of accountability that gets established. I mean, the American War of Independence, those who wanted to be free of English power, famously said, no taxation without representation. Mm-hmm. But you sometimes think, as a political scientist, you could turn that round and say, well, there's no real representation unless there's taxation as well. And if you can get the resources out of the ground, just extracting them from where we walk, then you don't have that challenge of accountability to the people.